This chart tracks the land per capita ratio across the G7. Canada has 10 times the land per person as the second closest country. Yet the total area Canadians actually live and build upon covers about the relative size of a single penny dropped onto that map. Despite having more available space to build than almost anywhere else on Earth, Canada currently has the fewest homes per capita in the entire G7. This chart tracks Canada's position on the Global Happiness Index, and it traces a steep drop from 5th place down to 25th. It is a striking decline for a nation that holds the 4th largest oil reserves on the planet and attracts some of the most highly educated immigrants in the world. For Pierre Poilievre, the leader of Canada's official opposition, this squeeze on the middle class is a manufactured event. Canada is suffering from a scarcity engineered by its own expanding government bureaucracy. It is easy to assume the high price of a new home comes from the physical materials, the lumber, the concrete, or the labor required to frame it. In reality, the primary cost driver is often government bureaucracy. Between compounding development taxes and an approval process that ranks as the second slowest in the OECD, years of red tape are added to the final price of every home. There is also an invisible pressure applied to every buyer's wallet. To fund massive deficits, the government is expanding the money supply at an aggressive rate. This flowchart illustrates the Cantillon effect. When a government prints new money, it enters the top of the financial system first. Banks and bondholders use it to buy assets while the currency still holds its purchasing power. By the time that money reaches wage earners at the bottom, inflation has already devalued it. Over the last decade, the money supply increased by 100%, while the actual supply of housing grew by only 13%. More cash chasing a stagnant supply of physical assets bids up the price for everyone. Restrictive zoning and currency debasement act as a wealth transfer engine. They strip purchasing power from those who rely on wages and move it upward to the asset-rich and the politically connected. This administrative friction extends to human capital, illustrated by the case of an eye surgery technician living in Ottawa. Every month, he boards a flight to the United Arab Emirates to perform surgeries for 10 days before returning to his family. He commutes across the globe because domestic occupational licensing laws forbid him from practicing his specialty at home. Tens of thousands of immigrant doctors and nurses are sidelined by similar roadblocks, while the domestic healthcare system struggles with chronic shortages, and 100,000 construction workers sit unemployed. The same regulatory walls that sideline professionals also block the path to Canada's geological wealth. The nation holds the 4th largest oil reserves on Earth. The only 3 countries with larger reserves are Venezuela, Saudi Arabia, and Iran. Yet shifting regulatory hurdles keep billions of barrels of Canadian energy trapped behind extreme bureaucratic barriers. This creates a strategic vacuum for the West. When North American production is suppressed, the United States and its allies must rely on hostile, authoritarian regimes to keep their economies running. Domestic gatekeepers don't just destroy local affordability. Their policies force global allies into dangerous geopolitical dependencies. Poilievre's proposed policy reversal centers on a massive effort to release the nation's trapped potential. To fix the housing market, he targets the taxes and timelines of the approval process, aiming for the fastest building permit systems in the world. For human capital and energy, the approach is identical. Standardized merit-based credential tests would allow sidelined professionals to enter the workforce, while clearing the regulatory path would allow private energy investment to move forward without government subsidies. These policies stem from a specific economic principle. Concentrated state control is inherently risky, and utility thrives only when power is dispersed. A free enterprise system disperses that power by forcing businesses to compete for workers with higher wages and to win over consumers with lower prices. Massive interventionist governments break that natural cycle. Resources stop flowing to those who create value and are instead redirected to those with the highest political influence. A nation's true wealth rests on a government's willingness to step back and allow its citizens to build.